guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm just here to have another play with some more tracing paper. If you saw my video with my tracing paper envelopes that we made with the tracing paper and the sheet music, and we made the smaller ones with the tracing paper and the book page, I thought I would come along today and do something slightly different. So very similar but slightly different for those of you who don't have access to a printer, because obviously these we used you know, printables onto tracing paper. So I thought we would do an alternative, or you know, you might have a printer but you might just not want to use the printables in that way. So let me just move all that stuff out of the way. So I've got my tracing paper here, and basically I thought we could just stamp some cute things and do some very similar envelopes, but using the stamped images, and then we could back them onto either like patterned paper. And you know, if I use printables, please don't think that that means that you have to use printables, because of course I've just said this is for people who maybe don't have printables. You could use patterned papers, i.e. from like you know, paper pads and things like that, or you know, I mean, you could use anything you like. You could make some old book page, things like that. Or you could obviously use just some plain coffee dyed paper, which again I just thought might look really pretty. And you know, I haven't tried these, I don't know how these are going to look, but now rummaging through my pile quickly whilst I'm like on the fly crafting, but hopefully I'll be able to find some in a moment to make the envelopes. So all we're going to do is start by stamping a few things onto our tracing paper. So let me just grab my ink, and again I'm just going to use my black StazOn, she says, and now I can't find it. Oh, here it is, not even in my drawer. I'm just going to use my black StazOn. I'm using these gorgeous Crafty Individual stamps, which again, you know, I know that I'm forever saying this, but I just want people to know you can get a 20% off with my with my special code. It's Shabby Special 20, and I will try and remember to link that code below. So if you wanted any of the stamps that I'm going to use, please see the code below. It's all uppercase and no spaces. So I'm going to cut this down in the first instance. Actually, I'm not going to cut both sheets down, just in case I decide to do, you know, a big one and a small one. So let's just trim this one down. And then I've got this gorgeous stamp here with this butterfly. Now, please excuse my filthy block. I am really shoddy at keeping my blocks nice. Now, we want this stamp to go on our flap, basically, of, you know, what would be effectively our envelope. So what we need to do is actually stamp it upside down, or stamp it at the top, up the right way, if that makes sense. I say that because I just am rubbish at the logistics of things like that. So I am very likely to forget that. So, you know, it's more for my purposes than for yours, but I'm going to try and stamp it upside down here. And I'm just going to place it here like that. Now I have to just press down like this. So I apologize if it kind of knocks the camera at all or jogs the desk, but my desk is obviously that kind of old desk, so it's not the best for doing things like this. So that looks really pretty, doesn't it? And then what I'm going to do is take my absolutely gorgeous Scripty Crafty Individual stamp, and I'm going to just stamp some script and maybe a bit of postage mark around here. So again, I need to remember that this is going to be my flap. So what I will do is stamp my stamp, you know, like upside down to me. that makes sense. So it's upside down to me, but therefore will be the right way up on the piece. So we just stamp around. I just be very random, and then I'm going to just incorporate that little postage mark, I think just down here. Looks pretty, and then just a bit here and there. Okay, so that's that piece. Now it's up to you whether you want to obviously continue your stamping down, because this is going to be like the back of your envelope. So I will probably just now stamp down again a bit of just random script stamp, just so as I have something on the back for if this is going to be not glued in. Now for my flap, if I want to have my stuff, you know, my flap, my script going the right way up, what I now need to do is like, you know, draw a line kind of thing. Well, I'm not going to physically draw a line, but stop stamping upside down and stamp up the other way, because this flap is going to be bending down this way. So I now want to stamp, hang on a minute, no, I'm talking complete rubbish, hold on. Let me work this out. You see, I find this very confusing. So I want that there, and I want my script stamp going the right way up. Do you know what? No, I just need to continue down completely as it was. So please ignore me. Just literally talking rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Okay, so that's that piece, which looks really pretty exactly as it is. So I'm just going to pop that to one side. Then I'm going to take my beautiful car stamp. This gorgeous one here, which is like a sort of advert, and I'm going to do exactly the same. So I mean, obviously, as you can see, this is pretty wide now, but I'm going to endeavour to stamp this again upside down, or I guess really I could actually stamp it up the right way going down the stamp. Then I don't have to be stamping upside down, do I? Can you tell, did I mention that this is the first time I've done this? Sorry guys, it's probably as clear as mud what I'm actually talking about here, but clearly, as you can tell, it's obviously as clear as mud for me too. So right, I'm going to stamp this like here, because again, that's going to be my like focal point on my flap. Okay. Oh, that's such a yummy image, isn't it? I really, really, really love that. And then I'm just going to take, again, I'm getting very inky and gluey here, but again, I'm just going to take my scripty stamp and do exactly the same, because all I really want to do is have a bit of interest in the background so it's not completely plain. You know, I don't want to be really uniform about it. I don't want it looking identical, but I do just want to have some stuff in the background. So just going to continue down the page like that. And then here, I might just stamp the top part of this stamp so that I get more like the postage mark in there. I just do some script there and some script here just to fill in the, you know, any gaps. So that's that one. Now let me just pop that out of the way. So love how that looks. And then the last one, we could do a bigger one. Now probably I don't want it as big as our A4 ones that we made, you know, from the patterned paper, but I will, I think, just cover this entire area. And actually, for a change, I think I'm going to use a different colour. So I'm going to use, I've got some olive green here somewhere. Again, it's my StazOn. I really do like the StazOn ink. So I'm just going to be using that. So I'm going to place this on the block to hopefully, you know, make it a bit better for stamping. I don't very often stamp with a block, I have to confess, so I'm a little bit rubbish when it comes to stamping with a block. But so what I'm going to do is stamp this first on this book page, because obviously I haven't stamped this now for a few days, so I just want to do the first one on here, you know, so that I'm getting it a bit juicy. And the other thing is, I haven't used this olive green StazOn for a really long time, so it may be that it's run out, in which case, or, you know, drying up, in which case I may have to go to my Azure Blue. Now, hopefully it's coming out. Ooh, a bit better now. So, oh my gosh, I'm just getting in the worst possible mess here. Okay. Right, so I mean, that's coming out a bit better. So I'll just now ink over there again. And then I'm going to take my A4 sheet. And I want to sort of cover, basically, you know, most of this sheet. So even if we cut this down, I've got like a starting point. So there's that. Oh, it's such a lovely stamp, isn't it? And then again, just ink it up again and just stamp that. And I'm going to stamp it not smack bang next to it, if that makes sense, so that I don't have it like uniform next to each other. But hopefully I've got then a bit of difference where it is. So like here, I'm going to stamp in the middle between those, and I'm not going to worry where I've got spaces, i.e. here, because I can go in with my script, you know, my script stamp, or I could go in with this one, to be fair, not on the block, and just fill in any spaces. And I will show you what I mean by that in a moment. Okay, so get in there. Okay. And then a bit more down here. I just need to fill that corner in over there. So again, we'll just now go over there. And actually, I mean, what you could do is I could just place my book page down here so I don't re-stamp over things. And then I could put it up here so that I'm getting like the middle of the stamp over there, rather than constantly stamping the same sections of the stamp, if that makes sense. So play around with your stamps. If you've got some background stamps, which, you know, I know that I'm always going on about this, but seriously, you know, if you're just starting out and, you know, building up your collection, I mean, I really think stamps are such a brilliant way to use up, to get started. Now I'm going to peel this off of the block so as I have a bit more control. Now this is where I'm going to get really messy. Okay, so I do apologise now. So I've got this blank space over here. I hope that I'm in frame. And so what I'm going to do is just take my corner of this and place it down here. And that's just filled that corner in. Okay. And then I'm just going to take, again, my corner here and fill that one. And then down here, just fill that space. I mean, you know, I had no thought process going on there whatsoever. Which you maybe are looking at this and thinking, oh, we can tell that you weren't thinking about that. But what I'm trying to say is, you know, you really don't have to think about that, because let me just pull this white page in. Where we had that blank line, we now just filled it in with this. and that doesn't look, you know, like it shouldn't be there. It looks perfectly fine, doesn't it? Well, I hope you think it does. So now what we're going to do is obviously marry these up. So I'm thinking some coffee dyed paper, so bear with me. I've got some here ready to use. I was thinking just pop this on some coffee dyed paper on the back and then just stitch around this exactly as we did with our patterned papers to make an envelope from this one. So that's going to be my first piece. So I'm just going to pop that to one side. And then I've obviously got these two. Now, I haven't quite decided whether to back these onto some sort of coloured paper. So let's have a quick look and see what's going to look good with that before I take this down to the sewing machine. So for instance here, I've just got some of my Ring of Roses page. We could back it onto there, which looks quite nice. I would prefer it without the rosebud. No, I'm not going to go for that. Right, that one is a no. Got this from my bird song. I mean, I'm just literally reaching for any scraps that I happen to have here. We could have that, which is kind of nice because you've got that bird in the background. Let's just pop that to one side whilst I see what else I've got laying about here. And I mean, again, you know, I'm just literally rummaging through what scraps do I have beside me. So let's have a look and see what else I've got. Hold on. I've also got some of my background pages from the Christmas download. So let's just pull those in. Just see. That's quite nice, isn't it? Quite like that. Yeah, I do quite like that. So let me just imagine that as an envelope. So we've got that one. Right, that's a possible. Let me just pop that on my lap so I don't forget it. We've got this one. Or maybe I prefer it on that one, I think, actually. So I might go for that one for this. And then, now this is copy paper. So what I might do, excuse the back, that's where I was doing my farmhouse blues kit. So that's what's on the back there. But what I'm thinking is, do I need to thicken this up with some book page? I probably do, because obviously it's just copy paper. So I'm just going to pull in some book page. And then when I stitch that round on the sewing machine, I'll cut it down to like the book page size. And then what's quite nice is obviously the inside will be book page. So I'm going to keep that together. And then my last piece is this one. Now, I've got some of my Dawn Mist. Oh, that's gorgeous on there, isn't it? So I'm going to do exactly the same with that. And I'm just going to pop that with some book page behind. Okay. Now I'm going to go and take those down to the sewing machine and stitch them around and then make them into the little envelopes exactly as we did in the last video. So literally I'm stitching around the entire piece and then folding my flap up like that. And then I will be back. Right, I am back from the sewing machine. I had a quick cup of tea while I was downstairs as well. So hopefully now raring to go and finish these pretty envelopes. So let me just get some book page to ink on. Oh, I just put that there because it wouldn't have been the obvious choice, but these are just some flowers from my Amongst the Amethyst and they were just floating on my desk. Oh, how pretty do they look against that car and that blue paper? Really, really, really nice. So I just left them there to kind of, you know, say how pretty I thought they looked. So all I'm going to do now is ink these up. And as you can see, I have stitched these exactly the same as the other ones that we did. So I'm just going to ink these up now. And again, I just ink up my book page slightly on the inside as well. We just ink around on the tracing paper, and of course tracing paper also, you know, you can coffee dye it, so you can you know, you can do that. I didn't obviously coffee dye mine, but you can do. Just a bit of a word of warning though, actually, I've sometimes had it wrinkle when I've come to iron it, so just be a bit careful when you come to iron it. You're probably best off coffee dyeing it first before you do any stamping or printing, because you don't want to waste your time doing that and then find you know, coffee dye it and iron it and it wrinkles up. So I have managed to iron it successfully, but I couldn't really tell you what I'd done differently, you know, that suddenly made it work. But I can't even remember. I maybe put some other paper over the top of it or something so it wasn't quite so hot, you know, to iron. So I'm just doing exactly the same, and I'll just ink all three up, because then we're, you know, we're done with the inking. Like that. So I hope everyone's having a good day, getting some crafting done. I hope you like these envelopes, and if you manage to have a play with the last ones using the you know, the digitals or printed pieces, they're really pretty, aren't they? And they just feel absolutely lovely. Okay. Okay. Okay, right. Oops. I was sat with this one on my lap and almost totally forgot about this one. So we'd best do this one as well. So this is the one that, obviously, it's the larger one, and it's on the coffee dyed paper rather than, you know, patterned printed paper. So it's just, you know, backed onto plain basically, but I think it still looks gorgeous. And this was stamped with that olive green stays on, so for a bit of a different look. So there we go, just ink around. Okie dokie, and I will just obviously ink the back, because again, you know, because this is quite big, the chances are this would be a floating piece. You know, if I was to put this in a journal, I would probably have it floating rather than a fixed piece. So I will ink the back. Okay, nearly done. Okay, now I haven't folded any of my flaps over, so we will fold the flaps over now. So again, you just want to leave obviously a bit of like headspace, you know, to be able to get your pieces in and out of your envelope easily. So I will just do that one. And again, I will now just ink over just where my fold is. You know, I really love that when you then open it and the fold is inked. I mean, actually that didn't show up overly much, but I do really love that. So there we go, that's one. Hopefully you can see a bit better there. Looks really nice when you kind of do that. And this one, obviously, again, you want to leave, you know, a bit of space for getting your pieces in and out. So again, just press that down. Like that. And on this side, again, just on the fold. And then my final one, exactly the same. So again, just leaving that bit of, you know, room to be able to get things in and out. Press that down like that. And then we'll just, again, ink that. Okie dokie. Right, loving how these are looking so far. So I hope you guys think that they look really pretty too. So just to give you some sort of decorating ideas really. I mean, obviously these two, these have got like a focal point already on them, which is something a little bit different to what our other ones, you know, the ones with the patterned paper had, because they didn't really have a focal point. They were just decorated like all over. I'm just checking that I'm filming and that I'm in frame. So that's a bit of a difference here. Now, I've brought along my pink labels, and there's a couple of sort of beigey colour ones on here. So I'm going to just cut out a couple of those. You have to excuse this. If you can see, there's a few lines in this where my printer, it seems to keep needing the printer heads cleaning, you know, like very frequently. I mean, I do obviously a lot of printing these days, but it's a bit annoying because obviously sometimes I send things to print while I'm then crafting, and my printer's downstairs where my sewing machine is, and you know, just like in our sort of living room basically. I do have it tucked down the side so you can't really see it when you go into the room, but you know, it's on the floor kind of thing at the end, so nobody can really see it until you come right into the room. But yeah, so I leave it printing, and then it's obviously really annoying because you then get back only to find that it's printed with these lines because the printer heads need cleaning again, you know, having only been cleaned recently. So it's a bit annoying, to be honest. I don't know quite why. I mean, I guess it's just the volume of printing really, but yeah, I mean, obviously it's only a cheapy printer, and as I say, I mean, I do an awful lot of printing these days, so it probably, you know, I probably need a more robust printer, I suspect, but it's, you know, it's a good enough printer, and it's only because I'm printing such a lot. Right, let's glue this down, and you know, if you watch my channel, you'll know I just like to glue half a label. I have no idea what that's about, but for some reason half a label works for me. So just going to pop that there, and we will just trim that off there. Okay. And then I've got this really thin sort of lace here, which is really quite pretty. So I thought we could pop a little bit underneath that label. Just like that. Oops. Okay. Ooh. There we go. And then hopefully this would look good across the top, because it's obviously then going to be matching. So just like on the flap. And again, I'm going to, I think, do that at a bit of a curve rather than straight. So again, just take my 3-in-1 glue and just then, oops. Again, I can't, oh, I went to put the wrong lid on there, did you see? I can't really see with the lamp on whether that glue was really coming out or not, so I hope it was. Okay, well, definitely it must have been, because I'm now glued to the book page, which is a bit of a bummer because I've now got book page now stuck on the back there, but anyway, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. So we'll just trim this off here, and I'm just going to trim it down because it's a little bit too long there. I don't mind it hanging over a little bit, but that was a little bit too much, you know, a bit too excessive. And I've got a little brown flower here. Admittedly, I have kind of inked this, so it's now looking probably a little bit more pink rather than brown. Is that like too pink? What do you think? Let's just see what else I've got here, whether I've got a browner looking one. I mean, these are just literally what's floating about on my desk. So, you know, I'm not being picky or anything. I'm just literally taking what's there. I've got a little gem. I think I'll do that. So it looks pretty, doesn't it? Doesn't really matter if it looks a little bit on the pink side. I think it still looks nice. Whoa! And then we'll just take our little gem like that. Okay, so that's that one. Looking really pretty there. Then we'll just do the one with the car. I mean, again, we could pop a label on this one, I guess. Just have a look. Oh, it's such a shame that I haven't made those flaps slightly bigger, because that would look so cool on the flaps. No, I don't want a label on there after all. I have got a little love, laughter and happiness ever after. No, that's not right either. Right, well, I've got some lace, and we know that lace always looks right, you know, no matter what. So let's pop that on there. Am I the only person who just thinks lace is like awesome? It's just everywhere you put it, it's like, oh yeah. I must challenge myself, I think, to do some lace-free stuff this year. But to be honest, what happens is, you know, I love other people's journals and work when they're lace-free. I think they just look really gorgeous. For some reason, when I do my stuff lace-free, I just think it looks really a bit boring. Yeah, just a bit boring. And then as soon as I add lace, I'm just completely converted and think, oh, that looks so much better with the lace. So, am I the only person who thinks that? I don't know. But I do see other people, you know, lots of really fantastic crafters who do not have to just smother things in lace, but, you know, and their work just turns out gorgeous. But for some reason, if I try and do it without the lace, I just think it looks boring. Well, to be fair, I think it looks okay until I add the lace. And then as soon as I put the lace there, I think, oh, yeah, definitely the lace just improves it 100%. You know, kind of without the lace, I kind of think, oh, looks okay. And then as soon as I've put the lace there, it's like, oh, looks awesome now. You know, looks awesome now, it's got the lace there. Maybe the key is not try the lace in the first place, and then I think it looked okay. I'm going to put a butterfly there, which, strange, not the obvious thing to have with the car stamp, but it just goes really nicely. Do you know, I'm going to leave that as a bling-free piece. No bling on there. Right, let's put those two out the way and bring in our big one. Now, the big one, I'm just going to check. I feel like I heard my iPad switch off. No, I didn't. I'm just a bit paranoid now because where it switched off the other day. Let me just squash my rubbish down in my carrier bag a bit. Now, this one, I'm a bit torn because, you know, I went downstairs, had my cup of tea, did this sewing. And then when I came back up, I thought I'm going to try and sort out a couple of things that I can use so you guys are not just having to watch me rummage around. And to be honest, I'm a little bit torn because I came across loads of things that I thought, oh, that would look nice with that. Oh, that would look nice with that. I mean, I have got this, which obviously is just some scrap. So this would be good because it would kind of use this up. And so it would be one less thing on my desk. And obviously, we're all about the scrap, aren't we? All about using up things. So we could have that there. I mean, I don't want to cover up all this paper completely because I just think it does look really, you know, really super cute. Let's have a look. ooh, we can have that label now on this one, finally, because that label's come in and out, and I kept on dragging it in. I'm clearly wanting to use it somewhere. So now we finally can. Right, let's have some doily on here. So I'm going to tear this down a bit because at the moment it's covering up all that beautiful paper that we did all that stamping on. So I don't want to cover up as much as that, to be honest. And once we get some doily behind as well, you know, we're covering up then quite a bit. So, or we could have obviously the doily up there. No, I think I like it down there. Right, let me ink this piece up. It's not really inking up brilliantly because obviously it's quite brown. The ink's not really showing that much, but it's showing a bit. Okay. Sorry if I'm jogging the desk. I know I say this all the time, but I mean, my desk is old, so it's, you know, it's not like a rigid piece of furniture or anything. It moves about quite a fair bit, so. Right, I'm going to have to move that down because otherwise you can't really even see that bird. So I think probably if we have it like that, I'm just going to, right, so I'm going to tear this doily piece round, hopefully a bit more like in line with the shape of the bird piece. Like that. That looks better. So let's glue, right, going to glue the bird down, but not stick it down. I should have just used my wet glue, but never mind. So, and I need to not go right down to the bottom because I need that bird lower so he's not covered up when the flap's closed. Right, now I'd picked this up because obviously I was about to glue the doily down. That was why this was in my hand. Right, so I'm just going to tuck this behind here. Come on, she says. No, I can't. Okay. Okie dokie, press that down. And then I can just trim this from behind to get that off. That looks pretty. And, oh, and again, I'll just ink that up there on the edge. A bit more there. Might have to use my walnut stain a little bit because that vintage photo is not really showing up very much. So just go around there a bit more. That's better. Otherwise it just, you know, it was making it a bit pointless putting it on there because it was not showing up at all. Right, ink up my label, which I'm going to have here. Right, put the right lid on the right one. I'm just going to hold that down there. Now, I had thought I might put a frame on from my fancy frames. So again, I've got this lovely coin album that's just fantastic for holding pieces. So let's just see, but it might look weird with the label. So, you know, it might be a case of like frame or label, not both. Well, weirdly, I quite like it. I'm just going to have a look down on it. Right, that looks a bit weird because it's like all, you know, things everywhere covering it. But that's quite nice. So, again, I'm just going to ink this up a little bit. Okay. And then we can just pop that on there. That. Okay. Oops, I've just come over a little bit more, otherwise I've just covered up the doily completely. Might as well have not had it on there. I've got that very straight. Oh well. Right, so that's that. That's that label. Just hold that down. And then of course we want to have a bit of lace after what we were just saying. It just wouldn't be very pretty without. Well, it would be quite pretty, but you know, nothing special without the lace. Now the problem is, once put the lace there, I don't really feel like the label goes there. Well, perhaps it does. Perhaps it does. Let me just put in this ivory lace instead. Oops. Just in case the ivory might look better. Oh, I think it does, doesn't it? Right, so I'm going to glue this label down. Sort of roughly in the middle. Oops, I don't think that is really in the middle, but hopefully it's kind of vaguely in the middle. And then I'm just going to glue that lace down. So again, we'll just take that 3-in-1. Come on. Okay. Okay. Okie dokie. And then we'll stick this one down here. Come on. Oops. Like that. Just mop that up. Okay. And just chop that down at the side. And then that bit on that side. Oops. Oh, that looks really pretty, doesn't it? Just move that around a bit. Okay, so that's that one. Do we need anything else? Do we need anything else? Oh, I have a little flower here from my Gosford Green, just a leftover piece. Could have that somewhere. Am I getting a bit cluttery now? Is it just getting a bit much stuff? Probably. Probably is. I must stop it. Sometimes, you know, you kind of like find other things on your desk and you think, oh, perhaps I'll just put that on there. Oh, perhaps I'll pop that on. Oh, what about that? And then before you know it, you know, your piece is completely covered with stuff. So perhaps I'll restrain myself. But hey, always room for a bit of bling. So I will restrain myself, but I will just pop this bling on as well. So there we go. Okay. Gorgeous. Right. My envelopes are done. So let me put in the 3 that we've done today. So these are the 3 that we have made today. Really, really pretty. I hope that you like them. And just, yeah, something a little bit different, something for those guys, you know, who don't have a printer, or, you know, if you just didn't want to kind of use your printables or whatever, just something a little bit different and, you know, mega easy to do. So, yeah, just a fun little project that are going to just look super cute in your journals, and they also feel really nice and sound nice. So I hope that you like them, and I hope you'll join me next time. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks then. Bye.